Greetings. My name is Raleigh L. Clark. Let's see. I was born in the Bronx, New York. Um, Grew up there for most of my life and then moved out to Denver, Colorado, where I met a gentleman by the name of Wayne Gray, who kind of referred me to this possibility. Um, let's see. I've done several road tours. Archie Bell, Sister Sledge, Rafael Cameron on Salso Records. Um, Had a single on Brunswick with a now pretty famous vocalist who was my lead vocalist at the time, Lisa Fisher. Um, while I was in New York, got a chance to play with um Yogi Horton, Doc Powell, um, Omar Hakim, Marcus Miller, um, all these guys. Anyway, um, grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan and um, started playing at 14 in church, transitioned, I want to say about 17, 18 to more secular and jazz genres. Um, and then after I moved out to Colorado, um, my wife at the time and I worked on cruise ships for about 10 years. We cruised with Seabourn Princess, Silver Sea. I enjoy traveling, love being out to sea. I do have my COVID shots, both actually, the Pfizer and Moderna. I got them both. Um, uh, Passports up to date, Siemens books. Um, Used to the more rugged duo work that we did, being mostly a crew person. But in a nutshell, pretty much that's it. Extensive experience playing around the country and around the world, actually. Did a few years in Hawaii with a local band there. And like I said, um, I'm the man you're looking for. At least one of them, anyway. Thanks. What excites me about playing with the BBking Allstar Band, um, the opportunity to play with, it's always a great time when you get the opportunity to play with likewise professionals, like-minded professionals. And um, I'm a team player. Always have been. I think that's kind of why I've been able to get as far as I did and make the contacts that I have. Um, uh, Always loved B.B. King's music, and this seems like a really exciting opportunity for me. So um, I'm looking forward to it. One of the skills I would like to improve on would definitely be my reading skills. Um, I have a lot of tutorial books, and then obviously with the internet the way it is, I downloaded a lot of tutorial information to really help me hone in on that skill. So that's my plans for getting it done. And obviously, if we've got some really good readers in the band, I love to sit with them and and work out information with them as well. How would I describe my working style? Confident, um, uh, professional, timely. Um, Again, I dive into the music very deep. Um, Got to know um, my parts without question, and always keep an ear out on how I can merge with everybody else to make it better. Um, Again, being a consummate team player. How did I work with someone whose personality was a little different? Um, okay, one of our cruises we did a trio, and in the trio we had a gentleman who worked with the orchestra, very talented. We worked with an orchestra, and he was used to mostly um, reading, um, and um, readers tend to be pretty, because that's what they do, pretty stringent in terms of keeping to what's on the paper. Um, Me growing up in church and having the ability to um improvise around the mood and the feel of music made it a little uncomfortable for him. Um, so when the songs were mainly the ones he did, what I would try to do was stick as close to what he was used to hearing and going by than what I would normally do in that song if I was the lead person um, on that particular tune. And then on my particular songs, um, I would do what I normally do and um, try to help him understand that there's a little bit more you could do outside of what was on the paper, and in certain cases, in certain songs, it was okay. So that's kind of how I worked around that situation. How did I work with conflict within a team environment? Well, working with numerous bands, everybody hears and feels things in the songs differently. Um, um, there's been many occasions where um, you're all playing the same song, but when you get to certain parts in the song, people hear certain notes differently, and as they adapt to how it works for them, sometimes it's a conflict um, um, musically, and if it's not a conflict musically, sometimes it's a conflict internally. Um, and what I would try to do is I always lean to the hierarchy, whoever's in charge. Um, and we would both share our ideas and knowing that somebody had to make the decision on which direction it would go in, I always settled myself to whether it was the other gentleman's or person's direction that the song was going in, then that's fine with me. Um, um, I tend to want to keep the peace because music in itself is hard enough, uh, and playing grooves and feel together as a unit. Um, it's magical when you can get the whole team on the same page, and um, musicians tend to have. Yes, I'm smirking. We tend to have strong thoughts and ideas, and they can sometimes get very attitude-ish. So I learned early, um, playing with so many professionals that I did out of New York, to understand that that is the case, and if you want to stay a part of it, um, try to be the peacemaker. Okay, how we worked under a tremendous amount of pressure and how we handled it. Well, when we first started on ships, and I'm talking about the duo, um, um, we were kind of we were picked by the agent, and they enjoyed what we did, and without very much information, kind of threw us into the deep end of the pool. So when we got on board our very first contract, there was several people who were used to the previous duo, and because our styling was so different, really didn't get into what we were doing. Well, the information got back to the cruise director. The cruise director called us into the office and told us that he had contacted our agent and said they had some very important guests coming on. And if these guests didn't like us, then they were just going to send us home. Well, my partner was devastated. And I told her, I said, we took this kind of on a trial run. We knew that it could go either way. Because we don't have the style that they enjoy on this ship doesn't mean we're not good at what we do. And I had to explain that to her and calm her down and say, you know what? This was an opportunity that we had, just like you get opportunities in life. If you're fortunate, we took the best advantages we could of this opportunity. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, great. We go back home. We continue doing what we're doing. We got plenty of bands to work with back there, and we've got our own thing going. Not a problem. So we came back up. Their guests came on board. The cruise director stood at the back of the room, and I said, don't hold back. Do what we do, just like we've been doing it, just like we always did it. And we did it, and halfway through the first song, the two couples turned around and looked at the cruise director and said, where has these guys been? They are the best we've heard since we've been cruising here. Where have they been? And he turned around and walked right down to his office and called our agent, and that was that. 10 years later, we're still doing it. Yeah, and that's how I dealt with that.